Boy, do I love parallel clamps, as you could probably tell by my collection here. I use them on panels, casework. Just about every project that I make at some point gets touched by one of these clamps. But the truth is, if I'm being picky, and I am, they're not perfect.
The Wood Whisperer is sponsored by Woodcraft. Just get started.
So there are two things that really bug me about parallel clamps, and it doesn't matter what brand we're talking about, they all do it. Number one is denting. Because the clamps are made from hard plastic, they've got a tendency to dent the work as you apply pressure. While this is a really big problem in soft woods, it can actually still be a problem in harder woods too. I've had a number of occasions where a finished ready piece was actually dented and needed to be sanded again after assembly. Now, the second problem is slipping. And again, because the heads are hard plastic, it can be tricky to position your clamp right where you want it, especially when you're doing a larger glue up with a longer clamp. Getting that far head to engage while you're on the other side with the screw head can be a real pain in the butt. So the obvious solution here is to cover the head with something. I've tried taping on wooden cauls. Those would still dent the work, so then I tried attaching cork to one side of the caul. That worked great, but then I had trouble keeping the cauls attached to the clamp head. Ultimately, I decided that a more permanent solution was called for. I thought I could just glue some kind of softer material to the clamp head and just call it done. I thought about things like leather and cork, but both of those might present some challenges with durability and glue. Then it occurred to me that I already have the perfect material for this in the shop. This is rubberized cork, aka crubber, aka gasket material. And the best stuff out there is sold by my buddy Andy Klein. It's nice and thin at a 1/16 of an inch, and it's incredibly durable. It's got a good amount of rubber content, so it rejects glue really well, and it has plenty of grip, which is why it's used as a jaw liner. So let's give this clamp an upgrade. I measured the dimensions of my clamp head, which across the brands, they're remarkably similar, and then I created a DXF file, which I could then use in my laser to make an acrylic template. Now, you don't necessarily need a template. You could just draw your lines and use a ruler and a razor blade and make your cuts, but if you've got a pretty decent sized collection, that's going to get old fast, and a template will make your life a whole lot easier. If you don't have a laser or CNC, you could just make this template out of shop-made material with woodworking tools.
While we're on the subject of clamps, did you know that our sponsor, Woodcraft, has an incredible selection of just about any kind of clamp that you might need? They've really got everything. Bar clamps, F-style clamps, quick clamps, old school pipe clamps, specialty clamps for things like miters and jigs, and of course, the topic of today's episode, parallel clamps. They even have their own Wood River brand clamps featuring a no-nonsense durable design and a 4-clamp set that'll get you going if you're building your collection. So if you're looking to add some more clamps, and let's face it, who isn't, visit them online at woodcraft.com or head to your local store. Woodcraft has locations all across the country, so there's a good chance that there's one nearby. And be sure to use the code TWW2026 for 10% off. Exclusions apply. Thanks Woodcraft for your support. Now let's get back to the action.
The long edges are easy enough to cut with a nice sharp razor blade. The inside area here is a little bit trickier. I actually found it easiest to do this with a chisel. So now how do we actually attach this to the clamp head? Well, I can't really think of anything better than contact cement. You certainly could use something like spray adhesive, but if you do, you want to make sure you probably tape off the outside of your clamp head because that stuff can get real messy. I'm going to use contact cement. To ensure a good bond, you'll want to scrape and sand away any dried glue that might be on your clamps. Once smooth, give the surface a wipe with a fast-drying solvent like denatured alcohol, lacquer thinner, or acetone. Carefully brush on the contact cement on both the clamp head and the rubberized cork. Wait about 15 minutes and then apply a second coat. I honestly don't know how necessary that second coat is, but that's what the instructions say to do, so I guess that's what we're doing. After another 15 minutes, both surfaces should be tacky and glossy, which means they're ready to be bonded. Now you need to be super careful here because once these two touch, it's game over. If you have a roller, use it to make sure the two surfaces are in full contact. And you might even bring the heads together and leave them clamped up for a while, just to ensure the best bond possible. If your jaw heads have a distinct off 90 angle, you might want to put something kind of squishy between them so that you get more even clamping pressure across the head. And that's really all it takes. We now have a clamping surface that doesn't dent the work and it doesn't slip around. Now I actually came up with this idea this past summer and I explored a bunch of different options. Cutting them by hand was fine, but when you have a collection as large as I do, it's going to take a lot of time. So I wanted to see if I could automate it somehow. I looked into the laser, and while I cut the template with the laser, turns out this stuff really isn't laser safe, so not a good idea to burn it. that was out. I thought about the CNC. Well, there are specialized cutting tools that might be able to cut something like this, but that was taking me down a whole rabbit hole of exploration and research just to make these little clamp pads. So I was like, shelve that idea. Then I thought about a bigger picture thing. What if other woodworkers were interested in this concept too? So I found a source that would be able to cut these for us, and even better yet, I want to save people time here and make sure that we don't have to worry about contact cement or applying our own adhesive. So I am super excited to announce to you guys we now have a new product in our store, and we're calling them True Grip clamp pads. Get it? True Grip. They are adhesive backed and ready to go. Just peel and stick. So I'm here to support you guys however you choose to do this. You want to go full DIY? Well, now you have all the information. If you want to make your own acrylic template, if you've got the equipment to do it, I'll give you the DXF file. I'm going to put a link in the description for that. But if you want to save time, and time is of the essence, you may want to look into these. You can now buy True Grip clamp pads in a 5-pack, a 10-pack, or a 25-pack, and those are pairs. And hey, maybe you want to go DIY, but you don't want to have to make the template. Well, we even have the acrylic templates for sale too. You'll find it all at twwstore.com. These things are truly so easy to apply. If you've got a large collection of clamps, they're going to save you a boatload of time. And by the way, I'm going to have a video showing how to install these. It's kind of redundant for what we've done here, so no reason to add it to this video. I'll put the link to that in the description. So whether you do it yourself or you use our pads, I hope you'll consider upgrading your parallel clamps with a little bit of True Grip.